All right, recording for our hip focus practice, and we'd like you to have 2 blocks and a strap nearby. And I seem to have I picked a block that was dusty. I've never quite seen a dusty block. We will start on the ground, supine. Oh, also, if there's a yoga strap nearby, that would also be useful. We'll start supine. I like to just kind of lift my hips and really settle, lengthen my spine underneath me, lift my ribs and settle my shoulder blades underneath me, and let my arm bones come right into the socket, so shoulders dropping back towards the mat. Just coming into our breath as a way to come into our internal space. Just noticing the movement of air as it comes in and out of your body. Allowing that to deepen. So it gets lower into your belly. And it gets lower into your lower abdominal, so it can really feel like I'm bringing air right into the whole hip structure. So we're going to explore all the motions of the hip today with the intention of both mobility and stability and flexibility. Beautiful. So let's start the first movement with, so arms are down by my side, my knees are bent, my heels are underneath my knees, and I'm going to use an exhale to pull into a pelvic tilt, which will then take me up into a bridge. So let's just inhale in preparation for that. And then when I exhale, I'm pulling my belly button to my spine to the floor, and then I'm going to just push those hip bones up as high as I can push them up into the air. My chest chases my chin at the top, and then I'll inhale, and I want to come down fairly slowly, like 1 vertebrae at a time, come down, and I'm going to feel my back on the mat, and then when my sacrum hits, that's when I'll release those hips, and now I'm in neutral with a little curve to my lumbar spine underneath me. I'm going to exhale again, remove that curve as I push my hip bones up into the air. And then once again, inhale to come down 1 vertebrae at a time and just unwind that. So keep going at your own pace. I want you to really pay attention to this action of this pelvic tilt, because when we get up and we're going to get ready for some cat and some cow, it also has this kind of pelvic movement within it, which we may not quite appreciate in quite the same way. So we'll pay a little bit of attention to that when we get to cat and cow. Let's take this action 1 more time up. And 1 more time coming down. Right. Hug your knees in, rock your sacrum a little bit. Feet back down. So I'm going to take one of my blocks on its lowest level, and I'm going to put it underneath my sacrum. I do want all my vertebrae to come up, to not be on the block at all. So I'm catching S1, but not L5, right? So all the back vertebrae are floating back towards the mat. And if I'm here right now, this would be called a supported bridge. And I do like it at this lowest level. You might be able to be higher, but I prefer to be on this lowest level for what's coming next, which is going to be some psoas action. So let's start by keeping our left knee bent. and then just lift our right leg up so that I'm getting 90 degrees. And maybe I have a bend in my knee, maybe my leg is straight. That's an individual choice, that's fine. So I'm here, and let's just have our foot be flouncy. So I'm not gonna ask anything particularly of the foot, but this hip flexor, which is so that my psoas has pulled my leg up, and now I'm going to stretch the psoas by dropping the leg all the way down till my heel is on the floor. And now my psoas is at its longest. Then I'm going to ask the psoas to work to pull my leg back up. So there's action. And then here's lengthening, here's contracting the muscle. Here's lengthening the muscle. One more time, I'm up. And I'm down, and then take me back up and lengthen your left leg. So it's going to feel a little bit different with both long legs. And once this leg is lengthened, you're lengthening the psoas on the left leg, contracting it on the right, and then I'm going to lower so they're matched, and then pull up. A couple more like this. Match them up, and so one more time up, and then lengthen, and just be in here. And I'm definitely in a little bit of a back bend kind of feeling, and just be here, relaxed feet, and just allow the lengthening of the psoas to happen here. Then slide your right foot underneath your right knee, and we'll work the left. So we're going to flex the psoas, pull everything up, and lower down. And lower it down. Let's lift it up and lengthen the right leg. So we'll have the similar experience. So now I'm really stretching the psoas on the right. And I'm going to lower and lift. And lift. And one more time, I'm going to lower and just let everything be stretched. Feel this little back bend that's happening. That's all good. You're in your breath, and then bring those feet in so I can take the block out. And we're ready to move on to coming around to all fours. So we can just kind of roll around and putting our hands underneath our shoulders and our knees underneath our hips. So our shoulders and our hips are lined up facing the mat. If I need to be on fists, I can be on fists there. And I generally untuck my toes for cat and cow. So here's the action. So again, lengthen your spine here. So you're in neutral here. And we talked about this pelvic tilting that occurs in cat and cow too. So we shall inhale, filling our bellies and pushing our pelvis back up and drawing our shoulders back towards our hips and lifting our heads. So here's our full cow. And we were not in this position on the ground because we didn't have space, because we were lying supine, right? So this is an extreme anterior tilt of the pelvis. And then I'm going to scoop the pelvis in, drop the head, curl my body up, my shoulders come forward. And this is in the pelvic tilt I was in when I was on the ground. So keep exploring this further movement of the pelvis, because we have more range of motion, because it's in floating free in the air as opposed to being stuck on top of a mat supine. Keep going at your own pace here. You might be faster than me. You might be slower than me. Just enjoying your cat and cow is definitely a good warm up. Let's take 2 more full rounds. And then we're gonna just come and find this really neutral place. All right. I've got something kind of goofy today, but I think it's interesting. It is a tiny bit challenging because usually when we do something like bird dog, it's opposite arm, opposite hand. But today we're gonna do something that is lifting the same side. So it is a little bit challenging. So I'm gonna do it facing you first, and then I'll turn back to the side. So what's happening is I want to feel really supported on my left hand and my left knee, because I want to kind of lift. I want to make circles with this other arm and knee. So this is a little weird, a little unusual, but you'll be able to do it if you just take it nice and soft and slow and feel and really, engage your core muscles to hold you, right? So when I come around, I'm coming towards being in all fours, but then I open up again. All right, good. And then let's try circles in the opposite, just take it the opposite direction. Oops, this one's a little harder. All right, come down and just shake everything out. All right, and then we'll go the other side. I will turn around so it's clear. So again, my right hand and my right knee wants to support me, and then I'm just going to make circles on this side of my body. Little unusual, but we like to try new things. So let's try and take the circles the other way. All right, come on down. Let's slide back to a child's pose. Let's take a break. I like to bring my toes together, my knees a little bit apart, sending my hips back. Your hips will land where your hips mine go fairly low. Yours might not be as low. That's okay. Just be comfortable, and maybe your forehead can come down on the mat or down on a block, and we'll breathe here for a few moments. All right, let's come back up to all fours. So once again, I want to feel like my tailbone is long, right? So again, I don't want to be in an anterior tilt with my pelvis up, right? So it's pelvis is in neutral here. Tailbone is long, hands are underneath me, whether I'm on fists or on my hands. And now both hands are going to stay down, and we're going to just isolate some hip circles here. So I'm going to pull my right knee towards my right elbow, take it out, external rotation, extend it back behind me, pull it to the front, but draw it internally. And so let me show it to you from this angle, just in case this is clearer. And one more time in that direction. And then once I'm here, let's go back and just change directions. And end that. And we'll do the second side. I'll give you a different angle. Second side, pull it in, take it out, take it back behind me. When I draw it in, I'm taking it a little bit internal. So we're exploring all the range of motion of this hip joint. And take it the other way. Beautiful. Shake everything out. Let us tuck our toes and get come on up into a downward facing dog. So I'm going to inhale. My knees are up, my hips up, all the way up. And once I get there, I can pedal, paying attention that my weight is even in my hands and in my feet. So I'm not further towards my arms or further back into my feet. My hips are reaching up and away. My chest is melting towards my thighs. My arms are by my ears. My head and neck are relaxed. And then let's inhale on both feet, lifting the hips up and away from you. Open your mouth and exhale. inhale our right leg up. And exhale, step it forward, bring the left knee down right underneath me so I can inhale up in a low lunge where I can really support it here. Exhale, side stretch towards the right. Inhale up, then exhale and twist to the right. And inhale up. Exhale, let's put our hands down and inhale, step me back to my down dog, open my mouth and exhale. Inhale my left leg up. Exhale, step my left foot forward. Even if I have to step it a few times, bring my right knee down so it's stacked right underneath me. Inhale my arms up. Exhale, side stretch to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, twisting to the left. And inhale up. My hands can come down on the ground and I'll step back to a downward facing dog. Inhale here. And exhale. Inhale forward to plank. And then you're going to lower yourself to the ground however you like to do that. So you can certainly take your knees and chest down. You could do a half chaturanga, you could do a full chaturanga. So whatever you'd like to do to lower yourself to the ground, your hands are underneath your shoulders. And we'll take cobra. So the hips are really anchored to the mat. They're going to stay anchored as I inhale and come up in my cobra. I want to hug my elbows into my body. Maybe I come up way high, so my hips are starting to lift off a little bit. Maybe I'm a little bit lower. Wherever it is for me is for you is perfectly good. And exhale to come down. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, lift up, exhale down. Just paying attention to how you feel in the hips through this kind of action. Beautiful. Now, let us tuck our toes, but we're going to just come back to an all fours position. And I want to open up again. I'm going to open up into a side plank. So to do that, I'm just stretching off this leg and I'm pivoted this knee. Right. And I can be here or I can be here. So whatever works for you. If the legs needs to be down, that's fine. And we're going to do a little flow here. I want to move a little closer to this edge of my mat. We do a little flow here. So I want you to inhale here. And then I want you to exhale. And you're going to come up and coming to this little down on the ground side angle kind of pose. And then inhale and come back. And exhale and come on over here. There's the action. So just kind of feeling this, we're kind of really warming the side of the body. And just feel this action and then just kind of feel what your hips are doing underneath this. Underneath that, or the upper body. And one more time, let's come over. And back. And then let's come all the way around to all fours and slide back to a child's pose. This time, take your arms back behind you, clasp your hands and lift them up and away. Roll your shoulders back and breathe here. And then inhale up, and we want to take that action on the other side. So let's come into side plank on the other side. Inhale here. Inhale here, and then inhale here. Sorry, I messed up. And then exhale over to the side plank. I forgot how to do it. And then exhale to side plank. Inhale, just noticing the hips underneath you. One more time, we'll inhale. Exhale in the side plank. And then let's come around one more time to a downward facing dog. So I'm going to, my toes are tucked underneath me. I'm going to inhale, knees and hips up, up, up. And exhale. And we'll come forward for some standing work. So let's inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, walk me forward. So however many steps it takes you to walk forward to a forward fold. The hips are hinged, the knees are bent, the ankles are bent. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, reverse swan dive. Oh, the way up to standing. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Good. Pull away a little bit so my head doesn't seem to be right in the ceiling. And let us stand tall at the front of our mat. So we're going to build a standing series, and it's going to have kind of a little puzzle feature. This was recommended to me by my yoga teacher recently, and I thought it was really fun. So we're going to inhale and grow taller, for starters. Hands onto mudra in front of your heart as you exhale into your chair. And chair can be lower or higher, depending on you, right? There's a little bend to the knees, but sort of you can take your chair where you want it to be. Inhale here. Let's exhale, twisting to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, twisting to the left. And inhale, center. And then we're going to exhale, and we're going to step our right leg back into warrior two. So picture what you're going to do with your legs and your arms as you visualize warrior two before you get there. So inhale here and exhale and step into your warrior two. So you're looking out over your left hand. Feel strong from the feet up the legs, core engaged, back long, chest high, arm bones in the sockets, and breathe here together. Super powerful warrior. Let's inhale here. We'll exhale and take it into a reverse warrior. Okay, so I want you to remember that we're going to call reverse warrior number 1. So you need to remember this because I'm going to call out numbers as we go. I mean, I'll give you more guidance than that, but this is going to be number 1. Inhale up, exhale over into side angle. This is going to be number 2. Inhale here, and then exhale and straighten your leg and reach, and now I'm in triangle, right out of side angle. A little unusual. That's going to be number 3. So to review, bending my knee, this is number 1. And I'm not going to call out the breath, so you exhale and inhale naturally as you go. This is number 1. This is number 2. And this is number 3. And now I'm just going to call out numbers, okay? So I'm going to go, I'll give you some more guidance on that. So from number 3, I'm going to go number 2, I'm in side angle. Number 3, I'm in triangle. Number 1, I'm in reverse warrior. Number 3, I'm in triangle. Number 2, I'm in side angle. Number 3, I'm in triangle. Number 2, I'm in side angle. Number 1, I'm in reverse. And then let's inhale and we'll take a break and we'll step forward and shake everything out. Order. Morning. All right, let's do second side. So we're going to inhale nice and tall. This time for chair, rather than being in Anjali Mudra, I'd like you to bring your arms up, and maybe your arms are right in line with your shoulders, or maybe your arms are up so your arms are right by your ears, not unlike downward facing dog. So you'll take the arm pose that suits you. Inhaling nice and tall. Let's exhale into chair. And just have a cycle of breath here. And then inhale together and exhale, step into your warrior 2. But boom, there it is. Inhale here. Exhale into your reverse warrior, which again is called number 1. Inhale up. Exhale to your side angle, which is number 2. And then exhale into triangle, which is your number 3. All right, now let's start our pattern. So I'm going to come back into 1. So I'm going to just breathe naturally, have my own breath flow. And let's go right into 3. Into 2. And 1. And 2. And 1. And 3. And 2. And 3. And 1. All right, inhale up and exhale and come out of it. All right. Great. So, how am I on time? All right. So, we were playing this week, so kind of this with this hip focus on going from warrior 3 into half moon. So warrior 3, my hips are squared this way, right? And then for half moon, I open up my hips, all right? So we were playing with it in 2 ways. One is to use my blocks. So my blocks are under my hands when I warrior 3, but I want to present the option of using a wall. So I'm going to use the wall first to show, and then you can make a choice which way you want to do it. So if I'm at the wall, my wall's over there, so I can inhale and grow taller, and then when I exhale, I'm reaching with my arms so I can touch the wall, and I'm going to lift my up, and my hips are square. I better use my other leg so I can turn towards you. So my hips are square, and I'm in a warrior 3 supported by the wall. So I can use the wall to support me, because as I open up my hip, I need to also open up my arm and shoulder to come into half moon, right? So I'm still holding on with my right hand. My left arm, left leg is in the air, and I'm completely squared open to the long edge of my mat, right? And then I can turn back to warrior 3. So I'm interested in that hip action turn, all right? So if you want to do it on the blocks, I'm going to start over so I can, again, lift. So here I've got my right leg up, and then I'm going to try to open up. So my left hand is on the block, and I'm trying to open as my left foot's on the ground. And then I'm going to come back again. All right, and then step out of everything. And let's do it one more time each side. So whether you're on the wall or on your blocks, get set with the left leg in the air. So the right toes are aimed right straight forward, and your hips are square. And then you're going to open your hip first, and then keep the opening to the top of your body, so your shoulder opens and you're balancing on your right hand and you're in half moon. And then you can come out of it back to warrior 3 and step out, shake everything out. And then the second side, much easier on the wall. So now my right leg's up, and my left toes are aiming front, and then I'm going to open up half moon, and then close it back up again, and then come up. All right, great. All right, while we're still standing, I'm gonna have a sip of water. Let us do some psoas kicks. So I love these. So we did a similar action supine, and now I'm going to do the same thing standing. So I like soft little knees. I'm nice and tall, completely supported in my core. Chest is elevated. And what I want to do is I'm going to extend my right leg back behind me, and then I'm just going to kick it front. So that's the action. So again, this psoas muscle is stretched here and activated there, right? So stretched here, contracting there. A little balance feature. If you just put your hand on something, you could do that. All right, and we'll take the second side, standing nice and tall, tap the left foot back, and then activate. All right, so we talked about the psoas a lot in the front, right? I have glute med on the side. I have glute maximum and minimus on the back, and inside piriformis. So those are the larger muscles. There's a whole other set of 6 muscles that are known as the go-go cues that do smaller little connections in all of this interesting structure of the hip. And so they're more mindful muscles that I may not notice unless I sort of somehow my obturator had some sort of pain in it, then I might notice it. Otherwise, I don't necessarily notice it, but it's doing all kinds of important things to me all day long. So all this hip work we're doing, we're thinking these big muscles, but we're actually also strengthening these smaller muscles. And they're really key, especially if you get into later in life, osteoporosis, those kinds of conditions. We want to keep those muscles strong so that they're tugging on the bones and encouraging the bones to grow, right? Because bones grow all the time. So let's play around with a little bit of movement here. So I'm going to soften my hips. You're now getting my ancient jazz training, but it's all good. So I've got soft little knees, right? And my hands are on my hips. And all I want to do is swing my hip to the left, swing my hip to the right. So I'm just going side to side. So I'm poking glute med side to side, supported by glute max, supported by the psoas in the front, supported by all these little muscles. You guys, so your hands can be on your waist, or they don't have to be on your waist. They can sort of swing with the swing. So I'm just going side to side, side to side. All right, good. And stop that for a second. So we've done a lot of pelvic tilting. We're going to do the same thing standing. So again, soft little knees. I'm going to poke my hips back, pull them forward. So back and front, back and front, back and front. So you might have a clue of what's coming, or you might not, but I can make circles, right? So if I go back, I can go right, I can go front, I can go left, I can go back. I go the other way. I go right, front, left, back. So I can just make circles. So fool around with that. I definitely need my soft knees. If I had straight legs, it would be harder. Change direction. So we're activating all these muscles in here. All right, come on up, shake everything out. Most excellent. All right, so let us we'll work our way down to the ground. So coming to the front of your mat, let's inhale, arms are up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. I'm just going to take my knees underneath me. I'm going to turn around, pick up my legs, and let's go ahead and reach my arms too, and flex my feet, and flex my hands, and point both. Releasing the work of the ankles and the wrists that they did all day for us. Great. Now flex both. Point your left toe and your right hand, and then reverse. Good for the brain. All right, now let's come into a 90 and 90 position. So, hopefully this is clear. So that each leg is in essentially in 90 degrees. And when I do that, this is my left leg, this is my right leg. My right hip is off the ground. Like I can't possibly pull this down. And I don't want to, right? So I'm just kind of sitting up nice and tall. So this right hip is a little bit off the ground. And that's okie dokie. So from here, what I'd like to do is just kind of, so what I'd like to do is lift my back heel up and down. So just kind of, so again, you should feel a little bit of tension. I don't have a lot of range of motion here. Very small range of motion, but I really feel it all in this deep hip stuff. Okay. So let's take our legs forward and my feet are shoulder width apart. And I'm going to dip one way and then dip the other way. This is called shin boxing. Just feel what you're feeling internally in those hips. We're moving them in all kinds of ways, right? What do we say? Mobility, strength, and flexibility. I think I said stability. All right. I'm going to get back on my mat because I walked off my mat. Take my second side. So again, now my right hip's down, but my left hip is not down. And I just want to do that little bit of just trying to lift this back foot. It's just sort of some quiet little movement in that hip. All right. So let's have both feet together right in front of us. I'm sitting up nice and tall. And I want to take my toes out, then my heels out, toes out, heels out, toes out, heels out, and then come back in. I think one day we did this standing. Back. All right, good. Stretch out your legs, pedal a little bit. And we are ready now. Let's come down to the ground. So I asked you to have a strap. We can really explore our flexibility in the hips. So lie on your back and hug your knees in. And everybody's different how close the knees are to the chest, and that's okay. You've got your arms to kind of hug them in. Just breathe here. Great. Now let's lengthen our left leg out, and it can be otherwise relaxed. And I'm going to take my strap and I'm going to put it on the bottom of my right foot. And I'm going to extend my right leg. Now, everybody's a little bit different. You may not be successful with a straight leg, and that's okay. So be where it is for you. And these hands are on this strap. So I'm going to draw it back towards me. And I'm stretching my hamstrings, which go right into my glutes. So just breathe here in this stretch. And my hip is right lined up. It's not angled in either direction, right? So I'm just lined up and breathe here. Great. So now you're going to let your right hand take over, and you want to just let your leg fall open to the side, but keep the left hip down. So I don't want to roll the left hip over with the leg. I want to keep stretching this hip away and the heel, the opposite heel away, and go as low as you can. So maybe everyone's going to be a little bit different where they are. You're holding on to your strap and just breathe here. So there's stretching action in the leg, abductors, the adductors, and also in the hip. All right, and then pull that back up. Now the opposite hand is going to get involved here because now I'm going to pull it over in the opposite direction. This time my hip is going with me all the way and go over as far as I can go. So this hip goes with me, and that's perfect. Maybe my foot's on the ground, maybe it's not on the ground. Wherever it is for you is fine. You're still supporting with the strap. So we're really getting the IT band, the outer part of the leg, and the hip getting pulled and drawn in a different direction. And if you want to complete the spinal twist, you can take your head and look out to the right, maybe tee out your right arm and look out over your right hand while we're here. Beautiful. So turn back, so you can turn your attention back to your leg, then lift it back up. Again, free it, hug the knee in, stretch the other leg away, and then lengthen your right leg. And let's have a little mini Savasana moment here where I just lie here and feel the differences side to side before I work the left side. Flex the left side, I should say. And then you can draw your left leg in to catch the foot, and then once again you're straightening up. Whether you've got a bend there or you're straight, whatever it is for you is perfect. And then I am bringing my toes towards my head to stretch this hamstring into this glute, and my hips lined up, so my leg is just right in the hip socket, lined up, even, and breathe here. All right, I'm getting ready to, so my left hand's going to take over so I can drop this leg open. And remember that right hip, I like to keep the right hip down and open, sort of stretching out, so it doesn't roll up and over, and just you can hang on with both arms here on as you come into this stretch, feeling these adductors, the inside of the thigh, and then right into the hip here. So the right heel feels heavy, helping to hold the right hip down. And start to bring it back up. So now My right hand is gonna help bring it across. The hip comes right on up with it. Maybe my left foot hits the ground, maybe it doesn't, whatever it is fine. Tee out my left arm and look this way to complete the spinal twist here. We'll breathe. Come back up, hug this knee in, free it of the strap. And we're ready for some happy baby and any kind of final movement you'd like to take before we invite ourselves into Savasana. And when you're ready, you lengthen your legs. And same thing as when we started. So I'd like to feel like my spine is really long and my shoulder blades are on the ground underneath me and my arm bones are in the socket so my shoulders can settle back on the mat. I like to turn my palms up to invite that. You can flip them both ways and feel where you feel the shoulders settle back best for you. And let's come into our breath once again. Might have gotten shorter in the practice, so inviting it to deepen. See if you can consciously send air on the inhalation right down into the whole hip structure. Let's picture if we can. So we've got these hip bones here. So sort of picture the bone structure here. The sacrum in the back. And then the joint of the hip that receives the femur, the leg bone, into the socket. Picturing that, and then picturing the bigger muscles, the glute med, glute max, glute minimus, piriformis, psoas, and then probably harder to picture if you haven't seen drawings of them, but just imagine little connective tissues that are connecting and extra supporting all of those structures. Just breathe and notice how you feel after the flexibility, mobility, and stability work that we engaged in today. And we'll be still for a few moments for Savasana. You can deepen your breath. Start a little. Let that wiggling grow into stretching of your limbs. Always a threat to knock over a water bottle. And then you come up to a seat. So you may roll over to your side if you prefer. If you'd like to do some rocking, pull your knees into your chest. And let's plan to rock a few times before we come to a seat. So I'm going to rock, kind of rock up and rock down and just sort of feel this action. It's kind of a nice little spinal massage. And then we're happy and ready, you could come up to a seat. Nice comfortable seat. First time we've sat in easy seat today, or if you'd like to take any other position for your legs, that's okay too. Floating your shoulders right over your hips. Nice and tall, lengthen the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Let's have some final breaths together. We're gonna inhale through, inhale through our nostrils. When I exhale, sigh it out. See if that you can get that sigh all the way down into the hip region. Inhale and sigh. Inhale and sigh. Thank you for joining me for this exploration today. I appreciate it. I hadn't decided, so I'm thinking here about next week. And I think that next week, we're going to stay really lower body focused. So kind of have a leg power session. Stay focused on lower body. All right, I'm going to stop the video.
I will be gone on Wednesday next week. We're going to mail with